strange how a simple telephone call can change the most carefully laid plans. 20 minutes ago, I was leaving the office with the delightful idea of getting away for a week's holiday when my telephone rang. I didn't have to answer it, but I did. It was a police sergeant patrolling the Old Town section of Nairobi. A European had just been found stabbed to death. I knew that instead of vacationing, I'd be locked down trying to find a murderer. Anything been touched?
Nothing's been touched, sir. I sent for the coroner. He's on his way.
For a second, I didn't believe my eyes. The murdered man was Hendrik de Brie. Only I'd been calling him Pop since I was a boy of 9. My hand held a small fortune in gold nuggets. I wondered where he'd gotten them.
Any of you see who did the killing?
No.
It was not a man, it was a veiled Muslim woman.
Did you see her do it?
Yes, I did.
Suppose you tell me exactly what happened.
This man was walking down the alley.
Yeah.
I saw her stick the knife into his back and run away.
Would you recognize the woman again?
No.
In what direction did she run?
Down the alley.
Thanks. Take care of things till the coroner gets here, will you?
Sir?
Inspector Paul Derrick to Nairobi headquarters, over. Ask Inspector Morgan to take all my calls. I'm going to be busy checking details on the Hendrik de Brie murder. If anyone wants my week's holiday, they can have it. That's all.
Can I ask a few questions, Paul?
What do you want to know, Josh?
The kind of things that interest the readers of the Daily Record?
The victim's name was Hendrik de Brie. Stabbed by a knife in the back, murderer unknown.
I heard it was a Muslim woman wearing a veil.
I still say murderer unknown.
Also heard he had a pocket full of gold nuggets.
That's right. Now, why don't you stop asking questions, go write your story, huh?
Just one more thing, Paul. Did you ever hear of Hendrik de Brie from up in the Niagara territory?
It's never in Niagara. Came to Kenya 40 years ago with Beltus Van Delft. Together they carved a farm out of the jungle. Apart from an occasional visit to Nairobi, he never left the farm.
Then how do you account for the gold?
I don't. Before I'm through, I will.
You make it all sound very personal.
It is. For the next several hours, I questioned people who lived or worked in the area in which Pop had been murdered. I described him over and over again, but it didn't help. They all swore they'd not seen such a man. Then I got my first break at an Indian store. The vendor said he'd seen the man I described enter a restaurant called Charlie's. Is Hendrik de Brie here?
He was here, Inspector. He bought a bottle of soda water and kept on glancing at his watch like any man will do who doesn't want to be late for an appointment. He paid for his drink and left.
Anyone follow him?
No, Inspector.
Was there a veiled Muslim woman in your restaurant at that time?
No, Inspector.
You wouldn't lie to me, would you?
All over town it is whispered, this murdered man was a friend of yours. It is not wise to lie to you. On my mother's life, I have told you the truth.
All right. Best way to check on Pop's appointment with person or persons unknown was to start back at the Van Delft farm. Incidentally, breaking the news of Pop's death to Tar Van Delft would not be easy. If Tar was back from his European vacation, that is.
Paul! Hi, it's good to see you, Paul.
Great to see you.
6 months is a long time.
Certainly is.
Good to have you home again.
It's great to be home. How was Europe? Have a wonderful time?
Oh, any answer to that would be an understatement. I had a great time. Of course, I fell in love, but twice.
Yeah, well, was it ever any different?
That's where you're wrong, Paul. You just don't understand. Every time that I fall in love, it's different.
Oh.
Each girl has a special place in my heart.
And you have a very big heart.
I have. Have a drink.
No, thanks.
Well, the first girl was Denise, and I swear to you, Paul, she was as fragile as an orchid and as soft as a warm breeze. She had great strength, too. Always will I remember her. Well, then I left for Monte Carlo. And believe me, my heart was not that of a carefree traveler. But fortunately, fate was sympathetic, and, well, I was sitting sipping a drink at Ormondo's, feeling terribly depressed when suddenly the most beautiful girl literally fell into my lap. Her name was Carmen. Oh, she was a flame. I instantly fell in love, and fortunately for me, she did too.
How'd you get out of that dilemma?
Gambling, by one spin of the roulette wheel. I bet 13 black for Denise and 14 red for Carmen, with the understanding that if either number came up, I'd marry the winner. It flirted constantly, first with the black and then with the red. And when it finally came to rest, 0. Oh, but that's enough about me. Let's talk about you. Is this the beginning of the vacation you've been promising to take?
I'm afraid not, Tar.
You in trouble, Paul?
No more than you are. Earlier today, Pop Hendrick was found dead in Nairobi.
He was an old man, Paul. Just a few months from 70. What was it, a heart attack?
He was murdered.
Murdered? Why? Who did it?
A veiled Muslim woman.
Oh, this doesn't make sense. Pop didn't know any Muslim women, and anyway, why should one of them want to do it?
I don't know. We haven't found her yet.
And why are you here, Paul? Why did you leave Nairobi?
The time he was killed, he had an appointment with someone. I thought maybe if I examined his room, I might find a letter or a note to identify that someone.
Well, why is the identity of some unknown person more important than looking for the person who did the killing?
Well, theoretically, one may be linked with the other.
Oh, a wonderful old man's been murdered, and you talk about theory. Without establishing a motive, what good's a theory?
If Pop told his discovery to anyone, I have the motive. You see, Tar, at the time he was killed, Pop was carrying several pouches of raw gold nuggets.
Gold nuggets?
Yeah.
That explains the hole digger.
Hole digger? What do you mean?
A few hours before you arrived, Ken Speakman of the International Mining Company telephoned me. He said he had something to discuss with me. Maybe he thought that Pop had found gold on the farm.
Yeah, well, that was the angle the papers played up. See you in a little while, Tar.
Where are you going?
Gonna check Pop's room.
Right, I'll come with you. Here, take it. For the past few weeks, the brush has been thick with cats. Thanks. Bad place for sleepwalking. Better keep awake.
You're right.
desk, Paul.
Oh, well, it's just a hunch. Didn't pay off. Now I'm right back where I started.
Well, what are you going to do now?
Try and do the impossible. Try and find a veiled Muslim woman in Nairobi.
Freeze. Remember.
Fool, he might have got killed.
Ich suche mein Leben, Graf. Zugegeben. I would willingly forfeit my life for yours, remember? Pop told us that when we were boys.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, we better get back to the plantation. Speakman's probably waiting for me.
Look, I found these nuggets right on top of the earth.
How do you explain this crazy thing?
Well, there's an erosion which starts at Hendrick's cabin. It goes right through the middle of Tar's property. That erosion could well be a gold vein.
How can it be fully determined?
By depth tests, by constant excavation.
Well, that would ruin the land.
Well, we'd pay you well for the right to dig, say, 20,000.
That wouldn't even cover the crop loss.
But if there is a gold vein there, the royalties will more than justify your initial loss.
What do you think, Paul?
Difficult decision. Why don't you sleep on it a couple of days?
You feel certain the erosion is a gold vein?
Could be.
All right. I'll gamble with you. I'll sell you the plantation for 150,000. If you hit gold, it's yours. If you don't, well, you'll have paid extravagantly for my plantation. There it is, Ken. Take it or leave it.
Right. I'll have a check and the papers waiting for you in Nairobi.
Good. I'll drive down tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye,
Goodbye.
Ken.
You want anything special for supper, Paul?
Yeah, plate full of answers.
What's that?
Somewhere in these notes is the name of a murderer. I'm gonna find him.
You know, Paul, since Dad's death, living here is no more fun. And now with what's happened to old Pop...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Where are you thinking of going?
Who knows? London, Paris, South America, anywhere. With plenty of money, finding a place to go should be very easy.
You make money sound quite important.
Without it, what's the good in living?
You're kidding.
I'm not. I'd rather do anything than try living without money. You see, I'm addicted to the magnificent things it can buy. Something to drink?
No, thanks. I better grab some rest.
I'll see you in the morning.
Good night, Tar.
I'd rather do anything than try living without money. You see, I'm addicted to all the magnificent things it can buy. Without it, what's the good in living? Put your rifle on the table. I was expecting you, Paul. What gave me away?
Your remarks about money last night, your eagerness to settle with Speakman. Why'd you do it, Tar? Why'd you rig up that phony gold strike?
Remember I told you about Monte Carlo? Well, besides losing the two girls, I lost all of my money. It was a bad night, Paul. A very bad night.
How could you afford the raw gold nuggets?
Cost me my last $15,000, but it was a gamble that paid off. In a few hours, I'll have Speakman's check in my pocket, and the world will have swallowed me up. Looks like I fooled everyone but you.
Tar, what do you know about Pop's murder?
Murder's a harsh word, Paul. Pop was a very sick man. Doc Connell said that he had no more than 60 days to live. He had an incurable disease.
Don't stall me. Do you know anything about his death?
I loved him as much as you. I didn't want to see him suffer. In a way, I did him a favor, don't you see? I saved him 60 agonizing, painful days of living. And in exchange, he repaid me. His death made headlines because of the nuggets he was carrying.
Did Pop realize what was coming to him?
Of course not. I'm not cruel. I told him I'd discovered gold. I asked him to take it for me down to the old town section of Nairobi. I said I'd meet him there. The rest of the story, you know.
All except the name of his murderer, the veiled Muslim woman.
Another ingenious idea of mine, Paul. The outfit I used is back in my clothes closet.
You said just now you're not cruel. Yet without emotion, you coldly murder the man who was like a father to us. You're right, you're not cruel, you're sick. Sick through to the core. All right, what are you going to do now?
You have to arrest me, don't you, Paul?
Yeah, that's right.
I thought so. Sit down. I can't kill you, Paul. I'm just going to make certain that you can't stop me going. These knots will allow for slight movement, Paul. But if you try to get free, they'll only tighten up and cut off your circulation. And in this heat, you know what that'll mean. I'll leave instructions for one of the servants to come up here tomorrow.
I'll get free, Tar, and when I do, I'm coming after you.
Of course. But believe me, you won't get anywhere. Oh, and another thing. If you should get loose, don't try to follow me. I'm going to rig the jungle right the way back to the plantation. You won't get anywhere without the boy I'm sending you. Goodbye.
So long, Tar.
Don't be a fool! You'll never make it! Don't be a fool! You'll never make it!
Drop your gun, Tar.
Nice tracking, Paul. And then even as a kid, you were always able to catch me. Well, what happens now?
Well, I'll do what I can for you, but you're going to have to stand trial for murder.
And if I'm convicted, what's the best I can expect?
A life sentence?
That's the worst for me. I couldn't bear to live caged up all my life. I'm not going back, Paul. I'm going to walk away from you. You're going to have to shoot me.
Tar!
You'll have to shoot me, Paul. Ah!
Come out. There's been an accident. Your master fell into a spiked animal trap. He's dead. Have him buried alongside his father. Inspector Derrick to Nairobi headquarters, over.
Over.
Have Inspector Morgan discontinue search for the debris murderer. Tell him I know who did it. I'll make out my report as soon as I get back to Nairobi. That's all. Over.